Most cold cases go unsolved because the physical evidence simply fades away. A perpetrator wipes down a weapon, burns their clothes, or lets the rain wash their footprints into the mud. But on the morning of December 31st, 2000, an elderly woman walked into a house next to Soshigaya Park in Tokyo, checking on her daughter's family, and discovered a crime that would paralyze the city. Inside, she found her daughter, son-in-law, and 2 young grandchildren. They had been killed in an attack that began on the upper levels of the residence and moved down to the front entrance, leaving the home in total disarray. The police arrived to find the murder weapon, a pile of folded clothes, fingerprints, and DNA left on nearly every surface. The perpetrator had effectively saturated the house with his own physical identity. This became the largest forensic archive in the history of the Japanese police. Yet, despite this volume of data, over 25 years have passed without a single arrest. The violence of the attack was quick, but what the intruder did next lasted for hours. He did not immediately flee into the park. He remained inside the residence. While the victims lay nearby, he went to the kitchen and ate 4 cups of ice cream. He drank multiple bottles of barley tea, used the family computer to browse a theater website, and eventually took a nap on the living room sofa. When he finally left near dawn, he walked out without the personal items he had arrived with. He neatly left a hip bag, a jacket, a hat, a scarf, and a pair of Edwin leather gloves on the family sofa. This map shows the exact sales distribution of the pale gray sweatshirt the intruder left behind. Only 130 were manufactured for all of Japan, and exactly 10 were sold in Tokyo. Police tracked down the buyers of all 10 garments, only to find every single one had a verified alibi and was cleared of any suspicion. Expanding the map to South Korea highlights a specific manufacturing link. The muddy footprints tracked through the house belonged to a batch of sneakers made between 1998 and 2000, but the killer wore a US size 9.5 to 10, a size exclusively sold in South Korea. Physical objects hold an immense amount of data, but that data is only useful if it can be anchored to a name. If a buyer pays in cash and avoids store records, the object becomes a dead end. Realizing the clothes led nowhere, investigators looked at the microscopic level. The killer's abandoned hip bag was a geological archive of his recent movements. Inside, they found sand particles matching the soil of a U.S. Army base in the Mojave Desert, microspheres used in skateboarding grip tape, and residues of the French cologne Dracar Noir. Genetic sequencing later revealed an unusual profile: East Asian patrilineage combined with maternal DNA tracing back to the Caucasus region. This mixed heritage suggested the perpetrator may have been raised abroad or traveled frequently. Japanese authorities escalated the hunt, bringing in Interpol to search international criminal databases. What followed was Operation Ruler. Over 280,000 officers were mobilized to collect prints from neighbors and local skaters. They checked 5 million fingerprints and 1.3 million DNA samples globally, but found no match. A forensic profile can map a killer's height, build, and genetic origin, but that precision is entirely worthless if the perpetrator has never been entered into a government database anywhere on Earth. Even with this volume of evidence, we are left without a motive. A robbery doesn't explain why the intruder left thousands of dollars in cash behind. A random attack doesn't explain the hours he spent browsing the internet and treating his injuries in the house. Today, the Miyazawa house still stands. It is fenced off from the surrounding park and preserved as a 3D modeled depot of evidence, a silent monument to a crime that remains unsolved. The police chief who led the original investigation is now retired, yet every year he returns to the cemetery to place flowers on the family's grave. We often believe that DNA and digital footprints make it impossible to commit a crime and simply disappear. But the Setagaya case proves that a killer can leave a piece of themselves on every surface of a room and yet still vanish into the dark.